Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen Scarlet Pimp Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, with a spiritual body language oracle analysis. And for this vid, we are focused on the feet. So if a lot of anything and everything has been going on with your feet, your toes, your heels, your arching your feet, bones, if you've broken anything in your foot, you hurt your foot, fractured it, if you've been experiencing gout, if you've been experiencing a lot of foot cramps, if you've been even just simply tripping over your feet, your equilibrium is off, you've been having ankle pain, you've been having random foot soreness, if your feet are severely dry, honey, if you've been having a hard time getting pedicures, your nails growing freakishly fast, got you looking ugly and such, anything of that nature, any special or unusual attention has been coming to or from your feet, then this is indeed the video for you. And without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into okay, jumping straight in, we have the Hermit card, and as you can see, there's a girl standing in the midst of what looks like a box, looking into what I am depicting and seeing. That could be a portrait, that could be a door that you think is closed, a door that just closed, a door that you closed, or a door that you're about to open, or a door that is about to be open for you. So for some people, the message is you needing to get off of your feet. You need to rest. You need to embrace solitude. Meditate in the process. I'm saying that some people also need to draw in the process. Some people need to do the happy baby stretch. That's when you lay on your back and you pull your feet into what would be a squat if you were on your feet, but being the fact that you're laying on your back, your feet will be in the air, knees bent, and your hands will be pulling your feet from the arches in your feet and be pulling them down and back in order to stretch out your hips. And that also gives a stretch to your lower back area, and all of that encompasses not only your root chakra but also your sacral chakra. So this is also about learning to enjoy yourself more, the presence of yourself, being in your own skin. But this also gets you back into an energy of childhood, your childlike spirit, and so that's also giving that some inner child work needs to be done or is being done at this time in this process. And referring back to the coloration of the card here, so where there is very dark coloration, that is signifying the lack of clarity that you've likely been experiencing. And where there is more lighter colors and more distinctive colors, that is representing the bits and the pieces of the messages that you have and the enlightenment that you already have, but it's like you can't see the picture clearly. And with that being said, for others of you, this is something artistic going on with you, where you're trying to create something, right? For some of you, you're trying to paint something. For some of you, you are writing a song, writing music, working on an album. For some of you, you are working on some type of variation of creative piece. And there are pieces of it that are unfinished. You have a good bit of it done and a good bit of it figured out how you want to do it and how you want to present it and all of that. But then there are just bits and pieces of little things that actually make up large portions of the picture or the message that you're trying to give, right? And the reason why it hasn't come through yet is because you haven't had those, you either haven't had those experiences to bring you the enlightenment, or you simply haven't had the enlightenment yet. You haven't had that epiphany come through yet. And you want it so bad to come through and to be done with it so that you can hurry up and get it out, that it's putting you on an obsessive frequency with it, and therefore you're kind of chasing it away from you. And so that's why you need to get into hermit mode, take a load off, balance out your work and play, and also do that inner child work. See, the inner child work, that's where that sacral comes in, because you've gotten to that obsessive frequency with it, and so it's now taking the fun out of it. And you need the fun. It's a major part of creativity as a whole. So through that inner child work and opening the sacral chakra, that will also lead you to some healing in the root chakra. So for these particular people, your bodily nudges have been coming through in your ankles. For some people, you're a dancer and it's been coming through in your ankles. For some of you, you're not a dancer, you do some other type of art, and it's still just been showing up in, you know, your ankles and maybe even the balls of your feet. I'm also seeing someone or some people have been stubbing their toes a lot lately, or tripping over their feet. And so in a physical sense, you need to get off of your feet. And that makes sense why you all are being directed to do the happy baby pose, because that's essentially a squat that you're doing on your back, as opposed to squatting and you're on your feet. It's a squat that you do laying on your back. And so I be sitting on the floor in Indian style, sitting and just laying in any type of way that takes you off of your feet. You need to get off of your feet. You need to let your ankles and your feet rest. You may even need to allow someone to give you a massage, or allow someone to assist you in stretching, such as you lay down on the floor on your back or on your stomach, whatever, what have you, and you let them push your legs back or move them here or there into different stretch positions for you, as opposed to you doing everything yourself. And overall, for everyone throughout the experiences that you ultimately put yourself through in order to do this root and sacral chakra work and inner child work and all of that, it's going to teach you a lesson and a value on letting go, and how can I put this, and how letting what you want go can actually bring it to you. Because what this is, it's also a lesson in love. So you know how they say, if you love something, you gotta let it go, right? So whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever it is that you're trying to acquire, if you love it, then you have to love it from a genuine and divine place. And if you're loving it from a place of ego, then you're loving it from a place of obsession, from a place of possession, entitlement. And so, thinking about it from a creative sense, this is even having to do with your creative gifts, your creative abilities, loving yourself, right? So if you love yourself, you have to let yourself go. And what that means is you have to stop micromanaging yourself. You have to let yourself be. Let yourself be yourself, and not try to control every single outcome, not try to Because some of you, what I'm picking up on here is that some of you have a tendency to rehearse what you want to say and do in your head over and over and over and over and over again before you actually say and do it. This is like some strong Pisces energy. Also picking up Capricorn as well. But you have a tendency to rehearse everything and overplan everything in your head before you actually put it into action. And that's keeping you in a box. It's keeping you limited. It's keeping you stagnated. And you are literally in your own way. And the more you start to move off impulse and literally just doing what you feel like doing, whatever it is, the more you will get to know yourself better and get to know more of what you like, more of what you want, more of what you need, and your view will become clearer. That's where your epiphanies and enlightenment will start to come through better. And you have to deal with, through that, you'll end up releasing yourself of so much anxiety and stress because you haven't seemed to realize that, one, many of you probably haven't realized that you even over manage yourself, you micromanage yourself, you over analyze yourself and overthink yourself, you over criticize yourself. And you probably haven't even really realized it because maybe it's something that was put into you during childhood. Like, that's how you were raised. You were more than likely raised with a parent that was a helicopter type of parent, hovered over everything that you did and always had something to say, always had a critique, was probably never satisfied or came off like they were never satisfied with the things that you did or the things that you presented. Even if they gave you compliments, it was always followed up with some type of criticism, such as, oh, I really like it, you really did a good job, but. And for some of you, I literally got a vision that perhaps one of your parents is a coach, or one of your parents has a position of authority in the industry that you are interested in or that you are active in. And they call themselves, like, they're not intending to ego bust you, but they do it anyway because they are so overzealous and passionate about what it is that they do, and they're so excited about the fact that, you know, y'all have that in common. And so what ends up happening is that they kind of project on you what they wish they would have done, and or they project on you, they kind of overdo it with the fact of they wish they had someone or a parent like them that supports what they do the way that they can be for you. But, you know, what ends up happening is that it's a little too much pressure. You want them to be a parent, not so much of a coach or a drill sergeant. And also, like I said, they end up ego busting you because it's so much of, oh, you did great, but this was wonderful. However, this was great, but also next time you need to do this, that, and the third to make it greater, which can make you feel like you're not enough. Getting that, for those of you that resonate with that, you have a parent that comes off more like a coach or a drill sergeant that is, you know, like for instance, if you're an athlete and one of your parents is a coach, then, you know, if that resonates with you and you know everything that I just said concerning that, then that could also be a reason why your sacral chakra is blocked, especially as it concerns what you are actually passionate about. Because it doesn't seem to be a situation where you feel forced into doing the same thing that your parent did or that your parent does. It's just that the fact that they do the same thing makes you feel inferior or inadequate in a lot of ways and at a lot of times. And so you end up creating or performing from a place of trying to impress them as opposed to just enjoying what you do. Overall, especially when it comes to coming from a place of trying to impress them, which is, you're isolating your audience, right? You're also isolating yourself and you're limiting yourself, because if you're doing all of that for the impression and validation of one specific person, then I mean, one is the loneliest number, right? Like, I don't have to say too much after that. Like, you're directing all of this focus into catering to the thoughts and opinions of one person. Of course you're going to be in a box. Of course you're going to feel stuck. Of course a lot of your ideas and everything that comes up are going to end up being limited and coming off maybe even repetitive. And that's why. And so with that being said, for some of you, this Hermit card is representing that basically you've isolated yourself in a way. And I don't necessarily mean that physically. I mean that in a performative, in a living lifestyle, or even in a creative type of way. And let me further explain. There's some type of wound going on. Like I said before, there's some type of unspoken, undealt with, unacknowledged trauma that happened in your childhood. For some of you, it's during your teenage years, and for some of you, it's in the like freshman, sophomore years of college, and you just kind of threw it to the back of your head and tried to just keep moving, using your outlets and hobbies and things of that nature as a coping mechanism, but your creative self wants to use that traumatic experience as art, if you will, as a form of education and entertainment. So that's a large part of why there are creative blocks here, because you don't feel safe expressing it or using it through creativity, telling your story through creative ways. Like, you may not feel comfortable talking about it at all, let alone through, whatever art form it is that you use. But it's coming a time and a need for you to do it. And you have so much like stagnation because you're trying to run from the memory. You're trying to run from that story. And this is how you are internally and emotionally and spiritually and creatively isolating yourself, because you are withholding a truth about yourself, an experience about yourself, a turning point in your life that has helped you evolve and that is trying to, let me put it like this, your higher self is trying to make that experience a stepping stone, not only for you, but also other people. And there are truths and epiphanies and enlightenment that your higher self wants to acknowledge and discuss with you and like channel through you for the purpose of healing. And you aren't allowing it to happen. So it's like internally and spiritually, you are running from your higher self. And so that goes back to like the door analogy that I had, looking at that door. You're waiting for a door to open, but the door already open and you closed it, you slammed it and ran away. And now you looking back at the door, it pops up to you every now and again, and you like, shit. And that's gonna lead us to shame, regret, and guilt. Those are all bullshit. So it's a lot of shame, regret, and guilt overall for the whatever the traumatic experience or experiences are that are coming up and that you are allowing to cause you blockages and that are causing you blockages, and you have shame and regret and guilt behind that experience alone, but then you're also shaming and guilt tripping yourself for every move and everything that's happened since then. Every like slight annoyance or slight irritation, just the fact that you feel so irritated, it takes you back to that traumatic experience, and you like, this is why. If that had never happened, this would be getting on my nerves so bad. I'm sick of this shit. I don't want to do this. I'm tired of healing from this. I'm tired of talking about this. But the thing is, you've yet to really talk about it. You've yet to genuinely start your healing process behind it. And that's why it keeps coming back up. It keeps poking at you. It keeps nudging at you. Keeps fucking with you. Because you are refusing to take power back over the situation. And it may sound like it's coming from a place of, oh, just get over it. No, not at all. What I'm actually saying is, and what spirit and your feet are actually saying to you is, the compassion that you're afraid and the understanding that you're afraid of not getting from other people when you talk about it and express it. It's the compassion and the understanding and the patience that you need to give to yourself. And you have to have that experience and those experiences with yourself concerning the situations, concerning your wounds and everything that you're trying to heal from and everything that you're trying to get through. You got to counsel yourself. You got to love on yourself. You got to hug yourself. You got to pat yourself on the back for picking yourself up and continuing to go on, continuing to let the breath in your body be a driving force to tackle every day doing the best that you can, to tackle every moment, every second doing the absolute best that you can. The fact that you're even still putting forth effort to do the things that you're passionate about, to even get out of the bed in the morning. And if you ain't getting out the bed, try to even open your eyes and just allow breath to flow through you. To allow your mind, body, and soul to just experience rest even. Being able to lay, having the ability to even get up, and own your truth. It doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. If you know the truth, then that's what it is. You have to own it. If somebody did you wrong, and that's what the truth is, and the truth is that you are a victim in that moment, then that's just what it is. It's not like victim blaming. The victim blaming culture is what makes this so tricky, because people are very prone to criticizing themselves and beating themselves up for even having the ability to be hurt. It reminds me of the poem from For Colored Girls, No More Love Poems, where she says, I've lost it, touch with reality. I thought I was doing it, but I was so stupid I was able to be hurt. No. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And with that comes ups and downs, highs and lows, pain and pleasure. Even if you were wide open for whatever, just because you wide open don't give nobody the right or the reason to bring harm to you. If you were a small child, lingering out defenseless without your parents, and another adult came up and decided to take advantage of you, that adult was on some demonic shit. That's that adult's fault. That's honestly also accountability that your parents have to take for not having had eyes on you, for not knowing where you were, for not being there to protect you. That is not your fault. Even if you leave your house as an adult and you leave your door unlocked because you were in a rush or for whatever reason, and somebody come up in your house and take your shit, true enough, yeah, you're going to have to, be more on your P's and Q's about, closing up your stuff and not leaving yourself open. But that's not your fault that somebody made a decision to come in and take from you. That is not your fault. It's just something that happened to you, and you can transmute it into a moment for happening for you. If you left your door unlocked and somebody came in and took your shit, you capitalize off that moment by shit. The next security system I get, it's going to have an automatic lock, or I'm going to have some alarms that, tell me this, that, and the third. I'm going to upgrade my whole security system, da, 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 da. And just like that, that moment triggered you to evolving yourself and to evolving your circumstances around you as well. And for some of you, I'm saying that you either left an abusive relationship, or you're in the midst of contemplating leaving an abusive relationship. And it's going back to that door analogy. So for the ones that have already left, it's like you are in the midst between two different doors, and you questioning yourself, kind of beating yourself up about whether or not you cut this relationship off too soon, if you should have gave it a chance. You beating yourself up about the fact that you weren't able to save them and change them and all that other shit. And not to sound insensitive or whatever, but just, to get through the analogy. And then the other door is literally the door leading to you choosing yourself and choosing your purpose, choosing your passion, choosing what's best for you. Shame, regret, guilt, those are all bullshit. And you got to give yourself more credit for the fact that you had enough love for yourself to leave somebody that's mistreating and misusing you. And misusing energy against you. Someone say they love you, and then their actions are the exact opposite, or they do some demonic shit in the name of love. That don't go together. That ain't it. Abuse is not a love language. That person don't love themselves. That person don't have the capacity to understand what to do with themselves. They have no control over themselves or over their own energy. And so they project that on other people, trying to micromanage and control what they can from other people. They try to take their power back from other people. This person is an energy vampire. And the only thing that they would ever have done for you is drain you and hold you back. Fuck fear. This person instilled a lot of fear in you. And for those of you that are still contemplating getting out, this person instills a lot of fear in you. It's a lot of illusions going on here. And let me also be realistic about the situation, because these things can be very tricky to leave, and fear is a very real thing in circumstances and dynamics like this. So definitely make sure, and this is touching back on that hermit card and touching on the isolation of self. You don't want to do that too much, because there is an emotional isolation where you're not reaching out to people who genuinely care about you. And I know that when someone abuses you, they manipulate you and convince you that no one else loves you and no one else cares about you the way that they care about you. And that's bullshit. It's not true. I'm picking up, for those of you that resonate with this, that there is literally about 4 or 5 different people, both male and female, both your age, and some older, 1 or 2 younger than you. But they are just waiting for you to say, help me, or be 100 that you really trying to get the fuck out this time. You probably feel like you done worn out your welcome. But Spirit is saying, try again. Reach out to them again. They are not going to reject you. The people that you think that you ran out of chances with for asking for help or calling for refuge and shit, try again. Because they understand you and they care about you and they're willing to help you a lot more than what you think. And a lot of evolutions have happened with them as well. They've realized ways that they probably didn't make you feel seen or heard or cared for in the past, and they want to make that up to you. And the sooner you acknowledge your strengths and have an honest conversation with yourself about where you learned that strength from and where you got that type of power and at least that much love for yourself from, the love that you have for yourself to constantly seek better and to keep trying. Acknowledge where you may have picked that up from, who you may have seen be like that. And just that quick, just like that, it's going to allow you to not only trust yourself more, but to think higher of the people that you've isolated yourself from. And I'm not talking about the person that has abused you or is abusing you. I'm talking about, because for some people it's someone specific. Y'all may have had an argument or disagreement about something and they said harsh words to you thinking that it was being direct and that it was like tough love to help you snap out of it, but they realized that they may have done more damage. And on the back end, you may be realizing that they said it at a time where you just didn't want to hear it, but the words of what they actually said was the absolute truth. And both of y'all are synchronized in that way. So lots of meditation. Lots of meditation. But the main thing here for everybody that is resonating not only with this abuse message and liberating yourself from that, but this entire layout as a whole, this entire video as a whole, people that are resonating with this read and this layout, this analysis, the main plot point message of this entire thing here is get real about yourself. Get real with yourself. Y'all have been in a string and a pattern of sweeping shit under a rug, turning a blind eye, turning the other cheek, giving people too many benefits of the doubt. Somewhere in your childhood, I don't know if y'all got a lot of whoopings or the thing I said about being locked up, your parents isolating you as a form of punishment or whatever, but that really put something in your mind, in your psyche, your subconscious, that it's not okay for you to acknowledge the truth. And that a part of that is also what has led those of you who resonate with the abuse part of the message. That's a large part of what led you into that relationship. And that's where I'm also picking up the other people that are wanting to be a support system to you in a better way, but you have some negative perspectives because you may have also realized that a way that they were with you, and this is more than likely for those of you that resonate with this part, it's more than likely your parents, guardians, and other mature examples that have been a part of your life. They are realizing that the way that they disciplined you, the way that they approached you, the way that they handled you is exactly why you were unable to peep the red flags in the beginning of a lot of relationships. And I'm not just talking about domestic violence relationship. I'm not just talking about romantic abusive relationships. I'm talking about friendships as well. Brother sister relationships, work, employee boss relationships, any relationship where abuse has happened one way or another. For some of you, you have some guardians or parents, aunts, uncles, maybe even grandmas and granddaddies that are observing where you are and where you've been. And not just you, but the state of younger people and younger generations as a whole during this day and age. And while many of the elders are clenching tight to all that old toxic rhetoric, many of them are also looking at the shit that's happening and they are filled with remorse about how they've contributed to it and the things that they did and didn't do to create it and the things that they didn't and didn't do to stop it. And like I said, if your parents discipline you in a way that is abusive and then turn around and say that they love you, consequently, they teach you that abuse is a love language. And it's definitely not always physical. Much of it is very mental, emotional, and verbal abuse that I'm picking up on. There is some physical abuse that I'm picking up on and some sexual abuse that I'm picking up on. But for the most part, for most of the energy that I'm getting through this, it's a lot of verbal, mental, and emotional abuse. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not, the energy of it is violent. Locking your child up in a room as a form of punishment on some Tangled Rapunzel type shit, on some flowers in the attic type shit, that's an act of violence. And I feel like I was moved to make that comparison and point that out as this message is about getting real about what's going on, about what has going on also. So understand, especially for those of you that have left an abusive relationship or that are in the midst of trying to leave an abusive relationship, and also overall, you just trying to figure out, those of you that are just trying to figure out how to clear out these blockages and clear out this stagnation and just get to the next spot and just get to the next level in life. We got to stop calling abuse love. Abuse and love are not synonymous. And we're just going to start there with it. I'm not going to go into the details concerning that because Spirit is telling me that that's where y'all need to start. And then as individuals, each of you will find your way back as long as you're seeking it and as long as you are taking in the rest of the messages, which I am and have vocalizing in this video. So I'm going to just say that one more again. Abuse and love are not synonymous. And through that one knot unraveling, it's going to be a whole domino effect of knots unraveling as long as you allow it to, as long as you are doing your meditations and doing your self-care rituals and making self-love and edification a lifestyle. You're going to get there. So let's get into talking about, because pretty soon I feel like I'll be able to go ahead and wrap this up. Let's get to that project, that person, that idea is waiting. Now, this is going to allow me to get into some more details about that other door that I was talking about. Like you're standing in between two different doors, a crossroads between your old self and your old life and the new life and the divine path that you actually supposed to be on, getting closer to your higher self and such. Yeah, ma'am. Yes, sir. That project, that person, that idea is waiting. And like I said, for a lot of you, this is about a creative project that either you have already been working on or that you've been trying to get up and running. You've been trying to get everything that you need to get it started, move and shake, get it where it needs to be and how you like it. For some of you, this is a person or people. For some of you, this is a romantic interest. And this is also tying in to what I said about the people who left a toxic relationship already. You probably have been thinking about somebody that you turned down in the past in order to be with that person that you were in a toxic relationship with. And that's also why you have a lot of shame and regret going on, because you feel like you made the wrong choice and you feel stupid for having turned down the other person. You feel like, you know what I'm saying, you wasted your options. You feel like you won't have that opportunity again. But Spirit is saying, and this card is saying, that that person that you feel like you missed out on is actually just waiting for you to hit them up. They've been waiting for you to realize that you the prize. You the prize. And they are the one to treat you like that. Now, definitely take your time and, you know, allow things to flow freely and organically and divinely and things of that nature. But Spirit is just waiting for you to hit that person up and be like, hey, big head, how you doing? What's good? And just start some type of conversation, some type of dialogue, and just, you know, some type of friendship in any way with them, and just go from there. And if you feel a need to apologize for how you treated them in the past, if you feel like there was any or if you're able to be honest and acknowledge if there was any disrespect or disregard in your tone when you rejected them in the past or just didn't give them that much attention, go ahead and just apologize. Just do it. Just get it out of the way. And like I said, go from there. And for some of you, it is, and oh, before I get to that, the other side of that also is, this is a confirmation of what I was saying about those of you that are trying to leave a toxic relationship. And it can also apply to the ones that have already left. But I'm heavily on, like, you either freshly left or you're in the mode, you're still in that back and forth. You've tried to leave before, but you keep going back. You've left, but you're still in communication with that person. You still are like affected by that person that you were in a toxic relationship with, or that you're in trying to leave the toxic relationship. Because when it comes to abusive relationships and toxic relationships like that, statistics even show that a lot of the time it takes 7 times to officially leave the relationship. the back and forth period can last a while. So that's why it's like back and forth like that. But let me get to the point. This is just confirmation of what I was saying about you having a support system that is just waiting for you to open the door and say, hey, help me. For real. Like, bringing humor to the situation, but for real, like your support system, your soul family is waiting for you to reach out and say, look, I'm so serious. I want to be out of this. I want to do different with my life. I want to renew. I want to rejuvenate. I want to rebirth. I want to heal. I want to function and get closer to God and my higher self. I just want peace and happiness, period. And for some of you, this is an idea. It's something you've discovered. It's something that you want to do, somewhere you want to go, something you want to create. So, this can also tie with the project thing. But the idea, this is also like, it can be that you want a baby for some of you. It can be that you want to have a baby. And for some of you, you want to know, would you be wrong to just have a sperm donor? Or would you be wrong to do a surrogate? Or, whatever, what have you. A spirit is saying, hey, like, do what you want. Like, make a list of your values and then determine if your actions align up with that. And if you want a baby because you want to pour into someone, build them up to be great, then do your thing. You got a support system, it takes a village. You may not have a husband or a boyfriend or whatever, what have you, but if you got money to take care of a kid and you got a support system of good natured people that can chime in and offer you support in whatever way that they can, then hey, go for it. And your process can be one that helps and guides other people as well. And for some of you, I'm picking up that this is a man. Feels like a man of the LGBT plus community. I'm picking up men in general, but there is someone or some people in particular that are gay men, or because I don't want to just say gay because I'm also picking up non-binary and all of that, but biologically men. And I'm hearing that you also want a baby. And for some of you, for most of you, from what I'm picking up on, you are in a relationship and you just don't know how to approach the conversation with your partner about kids and marriage and all of that. Because I'm getting, you never thought that would even be a possibility. Probably because of how you identify sexually or as your gender, and because of how society is and things of that nature. And also for some of you, you just have dealt with a lot of self-esteem issues, so you just never thought that this would be possible, or that it would ever even come to mind for you. But now you're like in a great place in life, you're in a great place in your relationship, and you're thinking about kids, you're thinking about marriage, you're thinking about a family, and that person that you're thinking about it with, they're also thinking about it also. And it's like both of y'all are on the same wavelength and doing the same shit. Y'all both are trying to figure out how to address it and scared of what the other person is going to say, but both of y'all are literally thinking the same thing. So it's like, go for it. Fuck fear, shame, regret, and guilt. Those are all bullshit. And for the non-LGBT plus men, I'm picking up a man that You're ready to take things to the next step. You genuinely are in love, and this doesn't have to be just one man. I'm just picking up a whole image of a man that is heterosexual in a relationship with a woman, and you haven't been perfect in this relationship. What I mean by that is you may have cheated in this relationship, or you may have just done some things that resulted in your lady not feeling as protected and respected in the relationship. And y'all have been doing rather well working through that and, healing everything and evolving everything. And y'all been in a really great space. You just have some reluctance about whether or not she is genuinely forgiving you. And so you don't know whether or not you want to approach her with taking the relationship to the next step, getting married, having kids, and all of that. And Spirit is saying, while there are still some elements of those situations that will have to be worked through, regardless, for the most part, your person has forgiven you. They and it seems like this person was made specially for you, and in their spirit they know that as well. And this person is an unconditional lover. This doesn't mean that you have right or reason to run over them and trash them and just drag them through the mud. No, but that's exactly why y'all had to have that experience with the betrayal and the breaking apart and coming back together, so that you can have the experience of knowing what it feels like to almost lose something and someone that you genuinely care about. And also her learning her strength and gaining a new sense of self-esteem, and both of y'all gaining a grand sense of individuality and being whole and being independent and having the ability to still come together as a unit. And so it's really given meant to be status. It's just a lot of things that y'all probably think should have never worked, or y'all shouldn't have got through that or whatever. But because a lot of people, you think that way because a lot of people don't, or a lot of people might look at her like she's stupid for staying with you. A lot of people might look at you because you handed over your pimp card away or whatever. You gave up your player seat or whatever, what have you. And shame, regret, guilt, those are all bullshit. If y'all genuinely love and care about each other, do that. And I'm getting that both of y'all have gotten to that point. Both of y'all are in a place where you are standing in the truth of, or you're at least facing the truth of, I love this person. This is the person that I want to be with and spend the rest of my life with, no matter what happens. This is the person that I want to raise kids with and build a legacy with, no matter what happens, no matter what they do. I will love them honestly, and I will love them tenderly. And this doesn't mean that I'm gonna let them run over me or anything of that nature. This actually means quite the opposite. It means that I'm going to honor them and uphold them when they're right and when they're in their divine functionality. And also, I'm going to love them by being honest with them and holding them accountable when they are wrong. And even when they are wrong, I'm still going to embrace them with compassion. I'm not going to enable them, because that's not love, but I'm still going to embrace them with compassion just as much as I embrace them with truth. So the overall message of this card, and not only this card, but like I said, this reading as a whole, what you want wants you. You just have to make the decision of what all of it that you want, what all of it are you going to commit to? How much of what you want are you willing to commit to? Because let me give you an example of what that can mean now, right? Because let's talk about the whole toxic relationship thing, right? A part of you may still want that person that you were in a toxic relationship with. And in another sense, a part of you may still want elements of the old life that you used to live. But do you want peace and happiness more than you want those elements? And are you willing to commit to gaining peace and happiness over the elements of what you used to have, where you used to be, and who you used to be? Which one are you willing to commit to? How bad do you want it? Which one do you truly want on a longevity sense more? Those memories or all of your things, all of your flowers, all of your blessings, all of your good karma and gifts? Do you want a bunch of hollow memories? Or do you want some real shit? Okay? Are we committing to illusions? Or are we committing to our divine truth and our divine design? You got choices now. You got choices. And you already know what to do. You already know who you are. You already know that you are resilient, that you are a phoenix, that you are an exceeder of all expectations, okay? That you are divinely designed and divinely aligned. You know that. You just need to do a lot of reflection and get real about your strengths just as much as you be real about your weaknesses. And also, thing about that is some of the things that you've been calling weaknesses are actually your strengths. You just been using them around and with the wrong people. And so of course they gonna tell you the wrong shit. Okay? But okay. Let me let me leave room for y'all to have y'all's own epiphanies and revelations going forward. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up with these last two cards down here. A win-win outcome is forecast. Full moon in lucky Libra. You and your loved ones are safe. And that is new moon in Cancer. Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Yes, sir. That literally confirms and reiterates everything that I just said. A win-win forecast, a win-win outcome is forecast. Why? Because y'all are winners. And y'all are winners because y'all are choose to be. It's in you. Your divine realm gave it to you. Your divine realm gave it to a lot of the people that you've been surrounded with. And that's why you got to do your reflections. You got to do your meditations so that you can get a clearer view of who you are and where you come from. Because who you are and where you come from and where you going is straight up royalty in all senses of the word. What you waiting on is waiting for you to realize and remember who the fuck you are. You and your loved ones are safe. And that goes back to what I was saying about a lot of you are having a lot of concerns about certain people that you really care about or used to have relationships with. You feel like y'all might have burnt a lot of bridges with each other, like it's impossible for y'all to come back together. But it's really just y'all had to what's this saying? You had to grow apart in order to come back together or whatever. You had to separate, figure out yourself so that y'all can come back together and have a more whole interaction and more whole, fulfilled engagement instead of one that is based off and functions in codependency. And in the relationships and things that you're about to build with yourself and then also with other people, it's also on the lines of another quote that's coming to mind now, which is, I need you because I love you. I don't love you because I need you. I'm going to say it again. I need you because I love you. I don't love you because I need you. And I'm going to leave it right there. Child, I have milked this cow dry. Now, I appreciate y'all for embracing my vibe and gracing me with your divine time. So if your soul synchronized with this entertainment and enlightenment, go on ahead and do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you all light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.